Okay, here the problem is solve the problem by using round robin scheduling algorithm. Okay, RR scheduling. And here the time slice is given as time slice equal to 1 millisecond. What that means? 1 millisecond is the time slice means after execution of one process for 1 minute, 1 millisecond, the CPU will be shifted to another process. Okay, another process it will execute for 1 millisecond. Again, the CPU will be shifted to another process. That's what this time slice will be specified here. This is time slice is also called as quantum. Okay, time quantum. And here you can see that in the question they have given the processes, that is P1, P2, P3, P4. And its arrival times are 0, 1, 2, 3. Burst times are 8, 4, 9, 5. Now we will draw the Gantt chart. Okay. Here the processes are given and its arrival time is given, burst time is given. We need to solve the problem by using round robin scheduling, and the time slice is given as 1 millisecond. Okay, so here the process 1 which is arrived at time 0 milliseconds. Okay, and its burst time is 8 milliseconds. Okay, so first process 1 will be CPU will be allocated for the process 1, and process 1 will get executed by the CPU for 1 millisecond. Okay, at 1 millisecond we have another process which is arrived to the ready queue, that is process 2. Okay, and after completion of 1 millisecond CPU will be given to process 2. Okay, here how much amount is still remaining for the process 1? It is 7 milliseconds is remaining for process 1. Okay, at time 1 millisecond. Okay, then at at 1 millisecond process 2 will arrive for the ready queue and CPU will be given for the process 2. Okay, process 2 will execute it for 1 millisecond. Okay, what is the remaining time for the process 3? Remaining burst time, it is 3 milliseconds. Okay, at clock time 2 milliseconds, process 3 arrived to the ready queue. Okay, its burst time is 9 milliseconds. At time 2, CPU will be allocated to process 3. Okay, and process 3 also will be executed by the CPU for 1 millisecond. Okay, what is the remaining burst time for process 3? That is 8 milliseconds. Okay, now at clock time 3 milliseconds, process 4 will arrive. Okay, process 4 will arrive and its burst time is 5 milliseconds. Okay, so now the CPU will be given for the process 4. Okay, what is the remaining burst time for process 4? It is 4 milliseconds. 1 millisecond time process 4 will get executed. Okay, here after preempting, the process will be added to the tail of a ready queue. Okay, so first process 1 will be added to the tail of ready queue, next process 2 will be added, next process 3 will be added, next process 4 will be added. Okay, so again process 1 will get, CPU will be allocated to the process 1. Okay, at time 4 milliseconds. Okay, now process 1 will execute it for 1 millisecond. Okay, now how much time is remaining for process 1? It is 6 milliseconds is remaining still. Next process 2 will get CPU, and process 2 will, how much time will process 2 is having? It is having 2 milliseconds now. Okay, next process 3 will get, CPU will be allocated. Okay, so it will also execute it for 1 millisecond. The remaining burst time for process 3 is 7 milliseconds. Okay, now process 4 CPU will be allocated. Okay, what is the remaining time for the process 4 burst time? That is 3 milliseconds. Okay, process 4 executed. Again, now CPU will be given for process 1. Okay, process 1, 6 milliseconds is remaining. Now CPU is given for the process 1. CPU will execute the process 1 for 1 millisecond. So what is the remaining burst time for process 1? It is 5 milliseconds. Okay, now again process 2, the CPU will be given. Now what is the remaining burst time for process 1, process 2 now? It is 1 millisecond. Now again the CPU will be given for the process 3. What is the remaining burst time for process 3? It is 6 milliseconds now. Next, CPU will be given for the process 4. What is the burst time remaining for the process 4? It is 2 milliseconds. Okay. Next, again CPU will be given for process 1. What is the remaining burst time for process 1 now? It is 4 milliseconds. Next, again process will be given for the process, CPU will be given for the process 2. Okay. Now, what is the remaining burst time for the process 2? It is 0. That means process 2 completed its execution. Okay. Next, the process 2 will not now added to the tail of the ready queue. Process 2 is completed its job, so it will be exit from the queue. Okay. So process 2 is done now. Okay. Now, the CPU will be given to the process 3. How much is remaining for the process 3's execution? Process 3, we have still 5 milliseconds. Okay. Next, CPU will be given for the process 4. Okay. Process 4, how many milliseconds is remaining? 1 millisecond. Okay. 1 millisecond, process 4 will be executed. Okay. After process 4's execution, CPU will be again given to process 1. Okay. Process 1 will get executed for 1 millisecond. Okay. Again, there is no process 2 for execution. So immediately CPU will be given for the process 3. Process 3 will be executed for 4 milliseconds. Okay. Next, CPU will be given for the process 4. Okay. So CPU will be given for the process 4. So what is the remaining time for the process 4? Process 4 remaining time is 0. Okay. So now again CPU will be given for the process 1. Okay. What is the process 1's remaining burst time is 3. So it will execute it for 1 millisecond. Okay. Next, CPU will be given for the process 3. Process 3's remaining burst time is 3 milliseconds. Next, CPU will be given for the process 1. Process 1's remaining burst time is 1 millisecond. Next, CPU will be given for the process 3. Process 3's remaining burst time will be 2 milliseconds. Okay. Next, CPU will be given for the process 1. Remaining burst time is 0. Next, CPU will be given for the process 3. Okay. So next remaining burst time is 1. So process 3 will continue the execution. Okay. So like this, we need to draw the Gantt chart. At clock time 26, process 3 will complete its execution. Okay. First, process 1 will execute for 1 millisecond, then process 2, process 3, then process 4. Again, process 1, process 2, process 3, process 4. Okay. Again, process 1, process 2, process 3, process 4. Again, process 1, process 2, process 3, process 4. Okay. By this time, at simulation clock time 17, process 2 is completed its completed execution. Okay. At simulation clock time 14 itself. So process 2 will not get again CPU. Okay. CPU process 2 completed its execution. So after completion of process 1, CPU will be allocated for the process 3, then process 4, then process 1, process 3, process 1. Okay. Because process 4 also completes its execution at simulation at clock time 19 milliseconds. Okay. Then CPU will be given for the process 1, process 3, process 1, process 3, process 1 and process 3. Process 1 also completes its execution at clock time 24 milliseconds. Now we have 1 more millisecond of process 3 only will get executed. That is at 26 milliseconds, all the process will complete its execution. Okay, we can come to know this by adding all the burst times. If we add the burst time of process 1 is 8 plus 4 plus 9 plus 5, we will get 26. At clock time 26 milliseconds, all the process will complete its execution. Like this, we need to draw the Gantt chart for round robin scheduling. Okay, now we'll find the waiting time. How to find the waiting time? We have discussed, right? Process 1's waiting time, if you want to find it, it is the sum of it is a allotted time minus its arrival time. Okay, what is the process 1's allotted time? It is 0. What is this process 1's arrival time? 0. 0 minus 0, it is 0 is the waiting time, plus what is next, what is the process 1's last allotted time? Process 1's last allotted time is 23. Okay, minus its previously preempted time. Process 1's previously preempted time, that is 22. Okay, 23 minus 22. Okay, next 21 minus 20. Okay, next 19 minus 17. Next 16 minus 13. 12 minus 9. Okay, 8 minus 5. 4 minus 1. Okay, like we should sum all these values, we will get the waiting time. Okay, 23 minus 22 plus 21 minus 20 plus 19 minus 17 plus 16 minus 13 plus 12 minus 9 plus 8 minus 5 plus 4 minus 1. We'll get the total waiting time of a process 1. Okay, understood this? How to find the waiting time of the process? First, we need to add the allotted time minus arrival time. Okay, here the process 1's allotted time is what? It is 0. Okay, first initial allotted time, it is 0 minus its arrival time. Arrival time is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0, plus and process 1's last allotted time. Okay, process 1's last allotted time is clock time 23 milliseconds minus and last preempted time. Okay, process 1's its previous the preempted time, that is 22. 23 minus 22. Next, that time allotted, the previous allotted time minus its previous preempted time. 21 minus 20. 19 minus 17 plus 16 minus 13 plus 12 minus 9 plus 8 minus 5 plus 4 minus 1. We will get the waiting time for the process P1. So total waiting time for the process P1 we'll get is 16 milliseconds is the waiting time. Okay, now we'll find the waiting time for the process 2. Okay, process 2, what is the initial allotted time? Process 2's initial allotted time is 1 milliseconds. Clock time 1 millisecond, process 2 got allotted. What is the arrival time for the process 2? Process 2's arrival time is 1 millisecond. 1 minus 1, it is 0. Okay, plus what is the last allotted time for the process 2? Process 2's last allotted time is, from the Gantt chart we can come to know, process 2's last allotted time is at clock time 13 milliseconds. Okay, minus its previous preempted time. Previous preempted time for the process 2 is 10 milliseconds. 13 minus 10 plus 9 minus its previous preempted time is 6. Okay, 9 minus 6 plus 5 minus, okay, only 5 minus its previous preempted time is 2. Okay, like this, we'll sum of all these things, we'll get the waiting time of process 2. Understood this? The first one we should write is initial allotted time of process 2 minus its arrival time. Okay, initial allotment of process 2 is 1 minus its arrival time is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. Next, plus last allotment of process 2, that is 13, minus its previous preempted from the CPU time. Okay, its previous preempted CPU time is 10. 13 minus 10 plus 9, that is previous allotted time. Okay, minus its previous preempted time, that is 6. 9 minus 6. Okay, plus 5. 5 is the previous allotted time and its previous preempted time is 2. 5 minus 2. We'll get total waiting time for the process 2, that is 9 milliseconds. Okay. Next, process 3. Process 3 is also, what is the initial allotment time for the process 3? Process 3 got allotted CPU at clock time 2 milliseconds. What is the arrival time of process 3? It is 2 milliseconds. 2 minus 2, it is 0, plus, and it's when is the last allotted time for the process 3? That is 24. Okay, 24 minus its previous preempted time, that is 23. At clock time 23, it got preempted. 24 minus 23 plus 23 minus 21 plus 20 minus 18 plus 17, sorry, P3, 15. Okay, so yeah, it is 14 minus 11 plus 10 minus 7. Okay, plus 6 minus 3. This is the total waiting time for the process 3. We will get 15. Okay, understood, right? How to calculate the waiting time? First, we need to write the allotted time minus its arrival time. Okay, here the process P4's allotted time is how much? Initial allotted time for the process 4 is 3. Okay, 3 minus its arrival time is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. Okay, next, when the process 4's last allotted, process 4 last allotted at clock time 18 milliseconds, minus process 4's previous preempted time. Okay, 18 minus 16. Okay, plus 15 minus 12 plus 11 minus 8 plus 7 minus 4. Okay, this is the total waiting time for the process 4. Okay, process 4's total waiting time, we got it as 11 milliseconds. Okay, now we know how to find the average waiting time. Average waiting time is sum of all the processes waiting time divided by number of processes. Here we have 4 processes. 16 plus 9 plus 15 plus 11 divided by 4, we'll get average waiting time. Okay, now we'll see how to find the turnaround time. Turnaround time is waiting time of the process plus its burst time. Okay, here the waiting time of process 1, we got it as 16 milliseconds. And process 1's, what is the burst time? Process 1's burst time is 8 milliseconds. Okay, next, turnaround time for process 2 is process 2's waiting time, that is 9 milliseconds, plus process 2's burst time. Process 2's burst time is 4 milliseconds. So it is 9 plus 4, we will get 13 is the turnaround time for process 2. Next, process 3's waiting time is 15 milliseconds, plus its burst time for the process 3 is 9 milliseconds. So 15 plus 9 is 24 milliseconds is the turnaround time for process 3. Next, process 4 waiting time, we got 11 milliseconds, plus its burst time is 5 milliseconds. Okay, 11 plus 5 will get 16 is the turnaround time. So if you find the all the process turnaround time, we know how to find the average turnaround time. Average turnaround time is each process turnaround time divided by number of processes. Okay, process 1's turnaround time, that is 24, plus process 2's turnaround time 13, plus process 3's turnaround time 24, plus process 4 turnaround time 16. 24 plus 13 plus 24 plus 16 divided by number of processes, we have 4. We'll get 19.25 is the average turnaround time. Okay, we'll see another problem. Okay, solve this problem by using round robin scheduling algorithm, and the time slice here also given as time slice is equal to 1 millisecond, and we have the processes: process 1, process 2, process 3, process 4, and process 5, and its burst times also are given: 10, 1, 2, 1, 5. Okay, so the here they didn't give any arrival time. So we need to assume that all the processes are arrived at clock time 0, and the order of arrival is process 1, process 2, process 3, process 4, and process 5. Okay, so first the CPU will be allotted to process 1, and it will execute the process 1 for 1 millisecond, because its time slice is 1 millisecond. Okay, at 1 millisecond, CPU will execute 1 millisecond of 1 millisecond for process 1. So what is the remaining burst time for process 1? It is 9 milliseconds. Okay, then CPU will be given to process 2. Process 2 will be executed by the CPU for 1 millisecond. What is the remaining time now? It is process 2's remaining time is 0. That means process 2 completed its execution. Okay, next CPU will be given to process 3. Okay, here see at clock time 2, CPU will be given to process 3, and process 3 also CPU will execute process 3 for 1 millisecond. Then what is the remaining time for process 3? That is 1 millisecond. Okay, next CPU will be given for the process 4 at clock time 3 millisecond, and its burst time is 1 millisecond. So CPU will execute it for 1 millisecond because time slice is 1 millisecond. Okay, now what is the remaining burst time for process 4? It is 0. That means process 4 completed its execution. Next time, in next round, CPU will not be allocated for process 2 and process 4 because its execution is over. Okay, next, after completion of process 4's 1 millisecond of execution, CPU will be given to process 5. Okay, process 5's burst time is 5 milliseconds. Okay, but here the time slice is given 1 millisecond. So CPU will execute the process 5 for 1 millisecond. Now what is the remaining burst time for process 4? It is 4 milliseconds. Okay, for at clock time 5 milliseconds, process 5's remaining burst time is 4 milliseconds. Okay, next CPU will be given to process 1. Okay, its burst time will be 8 milliseconds is the remaining. Next, after completion of process 1's execution, CPU will be given to process 3. Now, process 3's remaining burst time is 0. Process 3 also completed its execution. Okay. After that, CPU will be given to process 5. What is the remaining burst time for process 5? It is 3 milliseconds. Okay. So, at this time, CPU will complete the process 5. Process 5's remaining burst time is 3 milliseconds. Okay. Next, CPU will be given for the process 1. Okay. Process 1, it will execute, CPU will execute for 1 millisecond. Remaining burst time for process 1 is 7 millisecond. Then CPU will be given to process 5. Okay. Process 5 now remaining burst time is 2 milliseconds. Okay. Then again CPU will be given to process 1. Process 1, what is the remaining burst time? 6 milliseconds. Again, CPU will be given to process 5. Process 5, what is the remaining burst time? 1 millisecond. Okay, at here. And again, CPU will be given to process 1. What is the remaining burst time for process 1? That is 5 milliseconds. Okay, now CPU will be given to process 5. What is the remaining burst time for process 5? It is 0 milliseconds. Okay. Now CPU will be again allocated to process 1. What is the remaining bus time here? 4 milliseconds. There is no other processes are in the way ready queue for execution. Okay, so CPU again it will be allocated for process 1 only. So process 1 remaining will be 3, 2, 1, 0. Until this time CPU will execute the process 1 only. Okay, so you can see here in this from clock time 14 CPU will be allocated for the process 1 only. Okay, it will execute it for 5 milliseconds. Okay, like this. At clock time 19 all the process execution will be done by the CPU. Okay, this time we can calculate by sum of all the bus time. 10 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 5, we will get 19. Okay, this is the how to find the waiting time now. Waiting time is first process one's first allotted time minus its arrival time. Process 1 got allotted at clock time 0. All the process here in this problem, there is no allotted time is arrival time is not given. Okay, so we have assumed that all the processes are arrived at clock time 0. Okay, all the processes arrived at 0. So process 1 allotted is 0 minus arrival is 0. So 0 minus 0 is 0 plus when is the process 1's last allotted time? Process 1's last allotted time is 14 milliseconds minus its previous allotted time, that is 13 milliseconds. 14 minus 13 plus 12 minus 11 plus 10 minus 9 plus 8 minus 6 plus 5 minus 1 is the total waiting time of a process P1. We will get 9 milliseconds. Okay, next for process 2. Process 2, what is the allotted time of process 2? That is 1 minus its arrival time is 0. Okay, all the processes in this problem, all the processes arrived at clock time 0. So 1 minus 0 is 1 plus, is there any time again the process 2 is got allotted? No, process 2 completed with only single allotment of CPU. Okay, so the waiting time is 1. Okay, next process 3's. Process 3's allotted time is, initial allotted time is 2 minus its arrival time is 0. Okay, plus is there process 3 again allotted? Process 3's last allotted time is 6 milliseconds. Okay, minus its previous preempted time, that is 3. 6 minus 3, we will get 2 plus 6 minus 3 is 3. 2 plus 3, it is 5 minutes is 5 millisecond is the waiting time for process 3. Okay, next for process 4. Okay, process 4 got allotted at 3 millisecond. Okay, and what is the arrival time of process 4? Process 4 also arrived at 0 milliseconds time. Okay, 3 minus 0, it is 3, and process 4 not been allotted again because process 4 completed its execution with the single allotment itself. Okay, because its burst time is only 1 millisecond. Okay, so the waiting time of process 4 is 3 minus 0, it is equal to 3. Okay, next process 5. Process 5's allotted time is, initial allotted time is 4 millisecond minus its arrival time. Arrival time is 0. 4 minus 0 is 4 plus process 5's last allotted time. Last allotted time is 13 minus its previous preempted time is 12. 13 minus 12 plus 11 minus 8. Okay, plus 7, oh, sorry, 11 minus 10 plus 9 minus 8 plus 7 minus 5 is the total waiting time for the process 5, that is 9 milliseconds we'll get. If you know the waiting times, we know how to find the average waiting time. Average waiting time is sum of all the processes waiting time divided by 5. We will get waiting time, total average waiting time. That is process 1's waiting time is 9 plus process 2's waiting time is 1. Okay, it is 1, sorry, uh, 1 plus process 3's waiting time is 5. It is written ulta here. Okay, this is process 2's waiting time is 1, process 3's waiting time is 5, plus process 4 waiting time is 3, plus process 5 waiting time is 9, divided by total number of processes we have 5. So we'll get 5.4 milliseconds is the waiting time. Now we know how to find the turnaround time. Turnaround time is processes burst time plus its waiting time. So process 1's, what is the burst time? Process 1 burst time is 10 milliseconds and its process 1's waiting time is 9 milliseconds. 10 plus 9 is 19 milliseconds is the turnaround time for process 1. Next, process 2's burst time is 1 millisecond and waiting time of the process 2 is 1 millisecond. So 1 plus 1, it is 2 milliseconds is the turnaround time for process 2. Next, process 3's burst time is 2 millisecond. Process 3's waiting time is 5 milliseconds. 2 plus 5 is 7 milliseconds is the turnaround time for process 3. Next, process 4. Process 4's burst time is 1 millisecond plus its waiting time is 3 milliseconds. 1 plus 3, it is 4 milliseconds is the turnaround time for process 4. Next, process 5's burst time is 5 milliseconds and waiting time of process 5 is 9 milliseconds. So 5 plus 9 is 14 milliseconds is the turnaround time for process 5. Okay, we know if you know the turnaround time, we know how to find the average turnaround time. All the processes turnaround time divided by total number of processes. Okay, here process 1 turnaround time is 19 plus process 2's turnaround time is 2 plus process 3's turnaround time is 7 plus process 4's turnaround time is 4 plus process 5's turnaround time is 14 whole divided by total number of processes is 5. We will get 9.2 milliseconds is the total turnaround time by using round robin scheduling algorithm. Understood, right?